It's just so special for such our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.
Hey there, TJ here, and welcome to Yeahthedees, where I am going through our round 18 win against Port Adelaide at Traeger Park in Alice Springs, the Northern Territory. Bit of a grind of a game, this one, against very informed Port Adelaide. They had their very poor start of the year, losing 5 games straight. In their last 12, they've gone 8-3. They had one bad loss to Geelong in Geelong by 35 points. And then their other 2 losses were against Richmond at the MCG and the Dockers at Optus by 8 points. They've had one bad one and 2 somewhat close ones against some good opposition. They're an informed side and they posed a bit more of a challenge than what people would think. They're definitely a lot better than what their ladder position is. As for the teams this week, we had Oliver go out for his first time since 2016 without him, a fracture in his thumb, so apparently it's just the one game. He'll be back next week, so it'll be very good to have the best player in the comp back in the side. Harrison Petty with health and safety protocols, so hopefully he recovers from COVID and come back. And Jake Bowie came out for the first time drop since coming in. Jake Melksham, Adam Tomlinson and Jared Rivers all come into the side. I said last week that I really felt like the back line needed Trent Rivers in, but it would be hard to drop somebody. Christian Salem, Angus Brayshaw and Jake Bowie are all very similar players. Bowie is a bit lighter, so the benefit from having Rivers in instead of Bowie is he doesn't get pushed off the ball as much. He has got a bit more strength and he's a very physical player. He will get in players' spaces. He will always launch himself at balls. He's just a bull in a china shop kind of player, and that's why I like him in the side. I'd expect Adam Tomlinson to probably go out for Harrison Petty if he's fit and ready to come in, unless Jake Lever with his left shoulder, unless he needs a week off or so with that. I haven't heard any update on how he is going, so fingers crossed for Jake Lever. Definitely don't want him missing games. Christian Petrarca playing more midfield time with Clayton Oliver out. So that sort of rejigged our forward line a little bit. Let's get into the game. Yeah, first quarter was pretty trash. Didn't get any reward for our effort, unfortunately. There was a very blatant burn once again from Bailey Fritsch, not passing to Charlie Spargo in the goal square again. He learnt from that afterwards because he did end up with 3 direct goal assists and kicked 2 goals too. Jake Lever went off really early on and oh boy was I worried. He came back on with it strapped, probably had some painkillers or something. Yeah, so a few chances that quarter, but yeah, only was able to manage the 4 points. The first time we've kept goalless for the year. First time I couldn't kick a goal. It was our worst first quarter score, but what's more important after that is how you respond, and we responded quite well, getting 3 goals in a row to catch up pretty quickly after Jeremy Finlayson kicked the first goal of the second quarter. So yeah, we were able to even that up pretty quickly with 3 goals here, and we did get goals in batches here. We did have a few spurts where our brand was coming together, the game was coming on our terms, and we were doing well. Yeah, so 3 goals here through Kozzie, Pickett, Bailey Fritsch and Luke Jackson. All in sort of similar vein. A couple of handballs, just good team goals. Great snap from Kozzie to put that one through. Out of his 6 goals today, at least 3 or 4 of them could probably be up for goal of the year. Just some phenomenal snaps. The one off the ground, definitely my favourite. It was an absolute joy to watch Kozzie go around the ground like that. One of my favourite moments of his was right before the halftime siren when he was gathering the ball and kind of slid and picked it up and then sort of kept turning around to turn the player and break his ankles and try to get around him. Ended up just kicking backwards to move the ball back forward, but we ran out of time and weren't able to do much with that possession, unfortunately. We were getting smashed in clearances really early in this game, obviously missing the best player in the comp, Clayton Oliver, and he's just a clearance machine. That's Port's one-wood. Port have a really, really good midfield. We've got Ollie Wines, Travis Boak, Connor Rosie going through there, Robbie Gray still goes through there. They didn't quite have the ruckman, and I still think our ruckman probably aren't quite fit yet. Gorn still seems to be labouring a little bit. Jackson looked like the better or fitter ruckman in the mix at the time, and that sort of gave us a bit of a different look, which was also good. Porter just really, really solid in the middle, so I wasn't surprised to see us lose the clearances. Kozzie Pickett's 2 goals in the second, third and fourth, and especially in the second and the third, they came at really important moments. First one was after Porter kicked 3 goals, and his second came after Charlie Dixon's goal as well, so that was just to bring things back to 4 points the difference at half time. So that was an important late goal there from Kozzie. All his goals were very, very important, which just really helped us even up the first half, especially after such a poor start. We still sort of held Port a little bit. Having Jake Lever off for most of that first quarter didn't help too much, but we only coughed up 13 points. There's only 9 points the difference there at quarter time, and so to go in 4 points up at half time, I was pretty happy. There were still some things we could do to improve, especially around clearance where we were getting beaten, but we really got clicking a bit more towards the end of this third quarter. Port got the first 2 goals here, and then we go on to kick the next 7, and yeah, it was Kozzie again with these 2 goals straight after Bergman and Rosie got on the board, so we're able to bring the margin back to what it was at half time. And then Ben Brown starts marking everything out of nowhere. It was fantastic. He was getting the lead, he was getting the mark. Really unfortunate that he ended up kicking 2 goals too. He had the opportunity to kick 4 goals, I reckon. These 2 goals here, they really just brought us back into it, and then we were able to dominate, which was great. Kozzie also kicked our last 2 goals of the game, and that was pretty much what put Port Adelaide away. It was just an incredible game from Kozzie. He must be so proud and happy with his performance in the Northern Territory around such an Indigenous crowd. It was just a feel-good game with people like Neil Danaher, Liam Jarrah, David Neitz down there. Lots of Melbourne flags. It was just lovely. It was such a beautiful setting for a football game. Having trees that close to the ground and the hills in the background and stuff, it was different. It was nice. I'm sure the boys enjoyed 22 degrees and some sunshine in the middle of July. So with Kozzie's 6 goals here, career high, most goals ever by a player in the Northern Territory, it just really got us going, which was absolutely fantastic. And the team lifted around him and helped out as well. He doesn't get there without the team assisting and getting the ball to him also. So for about this period, half of the third quarter and half of the fourth quarter, so about 30-40 minutes of football all up, it was the Melbourne brand, and we were back on point, and we choked up Port Adelaide. They didn't really get to have much of a chance. At the start of this fourth quarter, the Jake Melksham run-down tackle was fantastic. I've always been hard on Jake Melksham for his effort and tackling, and he had a decent game today. He had a role to play on Aliir, where he was trying to negate his influence on the rebound and sort of take him away from where we were trying to kick it. I don't think I've ever seen him run that hard for that tackle, and it sucked that the guy went out of bounds and kicked it out of bounds. The ball was out, so he didn't get rewarded with that. But he got rewarded with this, where Fritsch kicked it over the top to him. And that was really, really great to see. He was handy to have in this game, but I just don't see him staying in. And with Oliver coming back, it's just that would just be a bit too hard. Felt like our backline was really balanced, especially once Jake Lever came back onto the ground. Michael Hibberd was phenomenal on Robbie Gray. Whenever he went forward, he just really negated him at all. Robbie Gray only really had impact in the centre. I thought this was Michael Hibberd's last year, and with the way that he's playing, if he keeps this up, he can definitely stay on the list for another year, because his positioning, where he puts his body, and how he moves to take the advantage against his player is absolutely elite, and that's stuff that's really hard to teach. It's kind of just things that players do naturally, and when they're reading the play and seeing how things go. And he's a phenomenal player, Michael Hibberd. A little disappointing to sort of put the Q in the rack and have 3 goals, sort of trim this margin down at the end, but just very happy to take the win against an informed Port. This was one that could have easily slipped away a little bit. Would have been nice to win by 5 goals instead of 2, but that's just footy sometimes. But what we really wanted to bank was the 4 points and stay in touch at the top of the ladder. Christian Petrarca with most disposals for us with 30 for the game. Jack Viney had 28, Ed Langdon 24. Brayshaw Jordan, Stephen May, Tom Sparrow all getting enough of the ball. Some of the ball use was not quite, especially by Tommy Sparrow, but I really loved how he bullocked in, used his body and creates a contest a lot of the time. His disposal efficiency really needs a clean up, but he did really well. I thought Alex Neal-Bullen had a really good game. Let's go meters gained. Petrarca, made from kicking out, which was not bad. Christian Petrarca had 10 clearances. Our next best was 3 between Gawn, Harms and Viney. James Harms had 8 tackles. Jake Melksham had 7. So I was really impressed with Jake Melksham getting that many tackles in a game. Toby Bedford's been very quiet in the last couple of weeks. Maybe the small forward formula is not quite working, but if Kozzie's kicking 6, then at least he's taken the share from other people maybe. Angus Brayshaw really good with the ball, but yeah, as I was saying, Tom Sparrow, just you can't go at 44. You can't go at 44.4%, mate. That's just terrible disposal rate, and it was 41% with kicking. So that's his kicking really did not go too well in that game, unfortunately. Max Gawn and Adam Tomlinson with 4 intercept marks. Tomo had 7 for the game, and the most was 8. Ben Brown with 8. Hibberd with 8. Petrarca had 4 centre clearances. Bailey Fritsch 10 score involvements. Christian Petrarca 9. Kozzie 8, and he kicked 6-1, something like that. Team stats, and Port had a bit more of the ball. They got a lot of those sort of disposals in that first quarter when they were overusing it a little bit. So yeah, not too much to see here. Port had more inside 50s, yet we still won. So that's shows how good our back line was. Disposal efficiency about the same, and that's around the AFL average. Our efficiency inside 50 was poor, but it has been pretty poor for most of the year. I thought umpires were fine, nothing too bad. Probably let a bit too much go, but I'd prefer them to let more go than be doing 40-50 free kicks a game, because that's just boring. 1 in hit-outs, but I thought we probably could have done a little bit better there. Clearances and centre clearances. Like clearances around the ground, we just got smashed in, but centre clearances, we were okay. So we won back through turnover. Port had almost more everything except for goals. So, they were in form. They were trying, and we got the job done and got the win, which was great. Now let's get into the votes. I gave 1 vote to Ben Brown. I thought he created a great presence and really helped during the third quarter when we established our dominance by taking a lot of mark, and that just really helped the rest of the side. I gave 2 votes to Adam Tomlinson. I thought he was fantastic in the first half when we were under siege, especially when Jake Lever was off the ground. He had lots of intercepts for the game and played really solid. It'd be sad to see him get pushed out of the side for Harrison Petty, who's just been fantastic all year. Michael Hibberd got the 3 votes for the job he did on Robbie Gray. Just fantastic footy from him. He's like Benjamin Button, it seems like the time is going backwards for him. Gave 4 votes to Christian Petrarca. Had the most clearances. It was great to see him back in the middle. A lazy 30, and just gave 5 votes to Jack Viney, who really took on most of the grunt work in the absence of Clayton Oliver. He didn't get as many clearances because he was doing the hard work and getting the ball out, and played another fantastic game. Of course, I had to give the 6 to the Messiah, Keziah Pickett. Played the best game of his career, 6 goals, up in the Northern Territory, breaks some records. That takes us to our leaderboard, and we have a new leader with Christian Petrarca on 50 points. Just pipped Clayton Oliver while Clayton Oliver was out, so that's made things a little bit interesting for our leaderboard. Jack Viney's 12 behind Clayton Oliver on 37, Angus is on 35, Stephen May 31 to round out the top 5. Now, there's no VFL this week. We had a bye, but we are versing the Western Bulldogs this weekend, so that should be a pretty good game. We're back in second with another win, just under 5% separating us from Geelong, and a lot of people are thinking Geelong are in better form because of their percentage and things like that, but they do play North Melbourne twice this year, so that's not really fair. They're going to pick up a good 20% from those games. If you look at the ladder and look at the 4 sides that we've lost to 1st, 4th, 5th and 6th. And we play 3rd, 4th, 5th twice. Which is just, it's not the greatest draw. We've definitely gotten screwed from that. Collingwood have just bounced up and, probably the informed side at the moment other than Geelong. So you'd go Geelong, Collingwood, Port, just based on form lately. We got the rough end of the draw stick really here. We play Port Adelaide twice. One's in Adelaide and one's in Northern Territory. played Geelong once, and it's in their fucking shitty stadium down in Geelong. We had to play Adelaide in Adelaide. We play Freo twice, once over in Optus and once at the MCG. So it's just, a bit of a rough draw. I think we're doing well. You know, I don't think we've played a full 4-quarter game this year, but I still think that we're doing okay. You know, we've beaten Port Adelaide twice, which, you know, when we first played them, they weren't in great form, but they're in good form now. Yeah, they got smashed in the prelim, but they were a good side last year, and that's why we got put against them twice, because they were expecting cracking games. So Geelong get them this week. Be interesting to see how they go. They go down at Adelaide Oval. It's nice to see a team that's also around us play someone similar, so we can see how they go. We get the Western Bulldogs this week. They get a 2-day extra break on us, which is a little sucky. I'm looking forward to playing the team that we bullied in the grand final last year. Brisbane should get the job done over the Suns, but you never know what Gold Coast will turn up. They've been fairly competitive. Fremantle against Richmond, that's another interesting game, because Richmond have gotten all Richmondy again and snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Collingwood play an informed Essendon, so that should be pretty fun. Of course, once Essendon get rid of all the pressure of playing finals, they start playing well again. So anything can happen there. Collingwood definitely due for a loss. Sydney should get the job done against Adelaide. Carlton should get the job done against GWS. And then, yeah, I'd still think that this is fairly irrelevant further down. But one thing I did want to talk about before ending this video is actually the current state of commentary. And there's a lot of talk at the moment about Daisy Pearce, Dermot Brereton, Wayne Carey and all that. And a lot of it's just getting mixed up. Daisy Pearce is a fantastic commentator. She is awesome, and I really, really enjoy it. But that's not actually what I want to talk about. I noticed during this game, and I absolutely hated it throughout the whole game, is that the commentators talked about very boring things. So talking about teams looking like running on top of the ground or looking flat. It's just whether they have the ball or not. And it was just rubbish. Like, there's going to be times where your team looks second to the ball because they are second to the ball. If they're not winning the contest, like, then they're not going to be looking like they're running ahead. It's just, it seems very, very simple. And it's just very lazy commentary. It's not insightful at all. It doesn't help the viewer at home understand what's going on. Like, tell me which players are playing against each other that I can't see, because I can't see the forward line and the back line. Tell me which players are beating the other person in the contest or are moving and creating space earlier. Who's winning in the clearances properly, you know? But instead they're just like, oh, this team looks flat. And it's just such rubbish commentary. But nowadays everything is so organized and controlled, and every player has roles. So why can't the commentary team see what roles they are playing and inform us, the viewer at home, so we can understand? But yeah, that's just my little gripe about the commentary at the moment. Of course, it's, you know, BT when he's on, because he's useless and hates Melbourne. I hope the commentary can pick up their game and become a bit more interesting. So this has been Yeahthedees. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you next time.
Petrarca! Oh, wow! How good is that? Sparrow to make it a 3-goal, 3-pointer Douglas. He's got it! Surely not another one. Handball to Oliver. Streaming through. Bang! Bang, bang, bang! Melbourne are the premiers for 2021!
And it's just so special for our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.